driver's airbag. All standard features for $16,995. That's $2,000 less than a similarly equipped Ford Taurus GL. Get into a mid-size 94 Supreme Special Edition sedan or coupe for $16,995. More car for your money. From your local Oldsmobilers dealer.
Cheer for Steve Christie Monday night. Get your Christie Bigfoot only at Pizza Hut.
Mr. President, a package for you.
I wonder what it is. Top secret. Oh, no. I'm in big trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Are you comfortable there? Very good. Just follow me this way. I want to do follow me over here. I want to turn the chair so you can see me. Here, let me. There you go. Now, we have an overflow crowd tonight from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Are you from Allentown?
No, Hillsdale, Michigan.
Hillsdale, Michigan. Well, we're glad to have you. And she was seated behind a post here. It's kind of like going to an old baseball park. And I said, I can't have her sitting behind a post, so I've asked her to sit on the set here, and the chair needs to be aimed so you can see me. With ease. So if you have a seat, I hope you enjoy the show. You bet. Now you may. Oh, by the way, could I have your name? Let me come back over here. I have a plan. You mind telling me your name?
No, my name is Libby Richter.
Libby Richter. Somebody call the newspapers and say Libby Richter is our guest. That way they'll list this show in the late night listings in the newspaper. Right? Because, see, this is not a talk show, folks. We're on late at night and we talk, but it's not a talk show because we don't have a couch, we don't have a band, we don't have guests. We have a guest tonight, Libby Richter from Michigan. So somebody, Linda, make phone calls, make sure you get this show listed. You're our first official guest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Is it? Now, is there lipstick on my...
No, I wiped it.
Well, put some back on.
Just a little. A rosy glow.
This is what it's like to be me. Eat your hearts out.
Yeah.
You may be seated, ladies and gentlemen. They are still standing here. Look at this. Okay, now we have, as you just heard, we have another crowd here tonight from Allentown, Pennsylvania. And the owners of, is it the bowling alley, or are there more than one? Allentown Rose Bowl have presented me this bowling pin. You know, I used to make fun of bowlers, and people would get mad. I mean, they'd not understand it. I used to tell jokes, for example, like, do you know that you lose more weight, you burn more calories asleep than you do bowling? Because you don't drink beer when you're asleep. I'll put this here. Well, guess what? Yesterday was Mrs. Rodham Clinton's birthday. What, 46 or 48 years old? I'm not sure. Is it 46? 46? 46. Who knew that? Oh, Roger Ailes is hidden behind this post over there. Where are you? If anybody would know how old the wife of the president is, it would be Roger Ailes. Planning the next campaign, eh, Raj? They had a big party for her, and they brought in a cake, and they brought in the beverages, and they brought in a staff. Tipper was there, and the cabinet came in. President was taking a nap. She made a wish, folks. Sat there and blew out the candles. And she opened her eyes with amazing disappointment because I was still on the air. If we may get serious for just a moment, I was reading the Washington Post this morning. As you know, there's a big crime problem in our nation's capital. And there has been a crime problem for a long, long time. And the president has had the request made recently to call out the National Guard. And they, did you know this? They didn't want the National Guard on the streets enforcing the law. They wanted to put the National Guard in offices doing clerical work. They thought that's where they're overworked in the D.C. Police Department, is at typewriters. And, of course, the whole idea was rejected for a bunch of obvious reasons and mostly good. So today, in the Washington Post, there's a story by a gentleman named Cortland Malloy, and it is entitled, "Call on Love, Not National Guardsmen to Help D.C." And they quote as one of the experts a Ute director there, Deborah Shore, who is the executive director of something called the Sasha Bruce Ute Work. And I want you to read along with me a couple of things that she had to say as to what the problem is. And it spells out exactly what I and a lot of other Americans have been thinking, and many of them you, that we're going off the track here on personal responsibility. Those who do things that are wrong are somehow absolved. It's not their fault. It's all these other circumstances, and primarily, you know who it is. The blame always comes down to you and me, the working people of this country who have accepted the responsibilities of life and the challenges. We go out there, and it's we who are paying the taxes, and it's we who are subsidizing all these people who somehow don't follow through on accepting the responsibilities and meeting the challenges of life. A lot of people are getting fed up about it. So when you read something like this, it just adds to the frustration. Two things she said. Here's the first one. We know that guns are not the answer, so why continue down that path? She's talking about guns on the part of the authorities. During a visit to Ireland to talk with Ute workers there, I saw children on the front line of war, just like children in Washington, throwing rocks at soldiers. When was the last time you saw children throwing rocks at soldiers in Washington? She said the more force that was used against the Utes in Ireland, the more disrespectful of authority they became. And so, okay, so if you attempt to use authority to hold people to the letter of the law and they get mad at you, okay, we'll not try to catch you anymore. I'm sorry, we don't want to make you mad. The answer to this is we're not using enough authority. If kids are throwing rocks at soldiers, pick the rocks up and throw them back at the kids. We need, now, figuratively speaking, of course, they probably don't know what authority is. To this woman, Deborah Shore, authority is probably saying, please stop, don't throw anymore. Oh yeah, and they keep throwing. So they've rejected authority. Now, here's who's really to blame. The culprits in D.C. are crack and Ronald Reagan. They go together. During the 12 years of the Reagan presidency, I feel like I've been tricked. Were there 4 years that I didn't know about? Well, I feel cheated if there were, he's my favorite president. There are 4 years that I don't know about. During the 12 years of the Reagan presidency, we watched in horror as the distance between the haves and the have-nots expanded like crazy. Cocaine flooded the city, and every conceivable division between human beings, race, sex, and religion was emphasized to prevent any meaningful dialogue of what to do about the problem. That's Deborah Shore. Well, in the first place, there was no expansion of distance between the haves and have-nots, and the documentation is out. It's in my new book. There's a whole chapter on setting the record of the 80s straight, and this is one of these cliches that these leftists in this country continue to put forth. Also, it is these people who are bringing up race, religion, and sex and all that as points of division. It is these people who are pointing out the differences among people and saying we've got to understand it, celebrate it, and respect those differences. These are the people who try to wipe out the American culture that has been established over 200-plus years of our being a nation, and they're trying to come up with all these multicultural stuff. You must respect this culture and that culture, and they're getting rid of God in every institution they can, and they're blaming us for it. It isn't true. But cocaine flooded the city, blaming this on Reagan. Now, we know that Reagan was accused of taking naps, but he never did. Do you know that's a myth? Reagan never fell asleep in cabinet meetings, and he never took naps. It's just something that got started, and Reagan loved self-deprecating humor, made fun of himself, so it got started. So I guess what happened here is during these naps, Reagan would sneak out of the White House and go down to one of the corners in D.C. and start selling crack. Is that what we're supposed to understand here, Ms. Shore? And I guess while he's out there selling crack, he's also having anal sex with all the men and spreading AIDS. Because you say that Reagan was responsible for the spread of AIDS, too. So he's selling cocaine, he's having anal sex. Is that what you want us to believe? Why is this woman being quoted in the Washington Post? She's intellectually lazy. She has no credibility whatsoever, and this is not the problem, and this is why they're having problems in D.C., is because people like this have been in charge for who knows how long. There. I needed to say it. It needs to be said. And we're hot. We're rolling. You like this? Are we rolling? We're rolling. And we'll be back with the rest of it right after this. Don't go away.
I'm in second grade and I can read this fifth grade book. We can consider ourselves lucky that we will never have to worry about...
When Jay first came to Red Apple School, she was a total non-reader. After only 7 months of using Hooked on Phonics, she progressed through the end of a fifth grade reading level.
Dragons are mythical beasts, imaginary creatures that people used to believe were real. Hooked on Phonics, work for me.
Call 1-800-ABCDEFG.
This weekend, when you change your clocks, change your batteries. This message is brought to you by Energizer.
Mark Jason's interest in law and the judiciary began at an early age when his father was elected to the Supreme Court in 1958. Throughout Mark's legal career, he has been a trial attorney litigating civil and criminal cases in all state courts and federal court. With that experience, Mark is now ready to serve in the state Supreme Court. Jason, a tradition of public service. Mark Jason for State Supreme Court.
Half off, half off. When Max Buys has a half-off sale, you have to see the savings. Max Buys cuts the price in half on over 2,000 in-stock rolls of better quality broadloom carpeting. All colors, all styles. Every roll marked down to an incredible half off. Combine this outstanding half-off sale with no additional charge for pad and labor and take a half year to pay interest-free. And you've got a half-off sale you have to see. Max Buys half-off sale tomorrow only, 10 to 9.
We have another guest that's joined us on this. Another woman sitting behind the post. I better go over here so that you can be heard. Follow me over here, folks. Let me just, because if I just want to know what your name is.
Nancy Dupre.
Nancy?
Nice to meet you.
I didn't ask them to do this. Where are you from?
Allentown.
All right. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You bet. Double whammy. My friends, Newt Gingrich took to the floor of the House of Representatives today. How many of you are aware, as we tape, this is Wednesday, how many of you are aware that the president said, today I am going to present in legislative form the health care bill? How many of you were told that it's 1,300 pages and then 800 pages to explain what the 1,300 pages mean? How many of you expected the bill today? All day long, the news reported, we've got a bill, it's in legislative form, and here it is. Here's Newt Gingrich with the truth. Watch this.
Mr. Speaker, I just double-checked with my staff who talked with the White House staff, and as I understand it, after all of the circus fanfare of this morning, there is no bill being introduced today, and while there is various legislative language, it is not yet in form which the Democratic leadership is comfortable putting into bill form. Now, come on. We've now had a major speech to the entire country. We've had 5 weeks of testimony about a non-existent bill by people who didn't know what they're talking about. We have a White House task force that broke the law in a way which would put every small business in America in jail if they did it, and the defense was that they were too busy to fill out the technical legal forms required by the United States government, a defense which I hope every small business will try out when it has a problem with the IRS. And now we're told after this morning's circus, there is still no bill. The serious business of government should require genuine legislative effort with a specific written document, because this is not about personality, this is not about quality of testimony, this is not about effectiveness of speech, this is about a written legislative bill that would become law.
Man, oh man, there in 1 minute and 13 seconds, the best indictment of the incompetence and fraud of this entire program I've yet heard. Thank you, Congressman Gingrich. Now I want to review something very quickly, because all of this is part of a plan that I have on a previous show spelled out very artfully for you. It's called the Clinton Hustle. And I want to very briefly go through it and show you where we are in the Clinton Hustle. Now, Clinton Hustle begins with the crisis. Days and days of hand-wringing on TV. They tell you we got this major crisis, and they come up with these absurd figures to exaggerate the crisis and so forth. And then they're whining of America and these heartbreaking, emotional sob story anecdotes that you hear in town meetings from people that get, oh my gosh, we're going to do something fast in emergency. Then they float the trial balloons. Leaks of the plan or the solution. How are we going to solve the crisis? That's what that 239-page book is. They're now saying, hey, we didn't mean that. That isn't us. There's a bunch of stuff in there that's not wrong. Plan's free. It's expensive. It's inexpensive. It's fair. Then you go out and find a culprit. You got to find the villain. That's the lobbyists and the pharmaceuticals industry in this case. Then they promote the speech, and that's the president's speech before a joint session of Congress. Change America forever. Make or break the president's speech. This is where we are today. The sting is next. A long, long speech that promises to end the crisis. No specifics as to cost, no details. Only a select few will pay. This is exactly where we are in this stage of the Clinton hustle regarding health care. Yet to come are the polls. Once again, the polls will be taken. America loves it. It plays well in Peoria. They love the plan. They can't wait for it. And then when the details come out, finally when the legislation is presented, the details are there, they'll blame me and other talk radio people for inciting the American people into anti-Clintonism. So we are at the sting level. Now, the president did make some remarks today, and I want to play them for you very quickly, because it's we're going to juxtapose it with something Vice President Gore said about a year ago. Here's the first cut.
This legislation, therefore, literally holds the key to a new era for our economy, an era in which we can get our health care costs under control, free our businesses to compete better in the global economy, and make sure that the men and women who show up for work every day are more productive because they're more secure. And they feel that they can do two important jobs at once: be good members of their family, be good parents and good children, as well as good workers.
There we go. We're all in fear again, folks. We're not secure. And we need to be more productive, right? Well, let's go back. Remember that economic conference they had in Little Rock last year after they won the election? It's before their inauguration. Vice President Gore, Vice President-elect Al Gore, asked a question of an economist, MIT professor Robert Solow. Let's a little bit of this and see if you find a contradiction.
Isn't it true that in our assessment of our economy, it's also true that we still have the highest overall level of productivity in the entire world?
Oh, absolutely. International comparisons like that are very inexact, so the figure I'm going to give you now can't be taken as literally true. But as far as anyone can tell, either in manufacturing or in services or in everything taken together, we are still about 20% more productive than Germany and Japan.
Now, you know a little bit about psychology. There's two schools of thought on this. They say that if you're secure, that you'll be more productive, more energetic. I think it's the opposite in my life. The more insecure, the more unsettled, the more hungrier you are, the more hard or the harder you'll work to try to convince people that you're worth holding on to or whatever. Point is, they're contradicting themselves all over the place. They're trying to set up the country as in a downslide now. It's interesting, too. Consumer confidence is plummeting. The economic figures are coming up, but they can't say that because they've set everybody up for doom and gloom. I love the trap they're in. We've got more Governor Cuomo coming up after this. Don't go away.
Here's an opportunity for you to receive a free copy of National Review's special report on Rush Limbaugh.
Hi, I'm Bill Buckley. I'm doing one of the things I've liked most to do since I was 13 years old. My favorite diversion, except for reading National Review. When you sail, you need to keep your eyes on the weather. National Review does that, keeps its eyes on changes in the world scene, political, economic, and cultural. My purpose in founding National Review was to give people an alternative to the single-voiced commentary now known as politically correct. Call the number on your screen. Try the magazine. If you don't like it, write cancel on the bill, and we'll refund you for all unmailed issues. And you can even write me an angry letter.
Call this toll-free number now, and we'll send you absolutely free National Review's special report on Rush Limbaugh.
You don't go sailing without looking at the charts, looking at the barometer, and you shouldn't walk a block without checking in with National Review.
Call 800-441-4949 for an 18-issue trial subscription to National Review for only $29.95. Call now.
I don't give up. When homeowners call me for a second mortgage loan, I work to get them the best rate we have available, even as low as 7.5%.
Call Personal Mortgage Corporation, and you'll find people like Matt who are determined to get you a rate that'll be hard to beat.
Some banks may offer attractive rates, but with us, we think you have a better chance of getting approved.
Call 1-800-DIAL-PMC, Personal Mortgage Corporation. When it comes to second mortgages, we approve.
Most people already know that a GMC Jimmy comes with features that give it all the strength of a truck and all the ride and comfort of a car. But what you may not know is that right now, it also features a lease that's never been more comfortable. The all-new Jimmy 24-month lease. Get to know one today at your nearby Western New York GMC truck dealer.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching Rush Limbaugh, the television show. On Sunday past, Mario Cuomo, the governor of New York, went to University of California, Davis, which is outside Sacramento in California, and did a lecture. And after the lecture is Q&A. And somebody in the audience stood up. We only have the audio of this. We have Cuomo's answer. Somebody in the audience and asked him a question. The question is, why haven't you or someone of your stature, Governor Cuomo, spoken out on what I think is the running sewer that flushes over this country day in and day out called Rush Limbaugh? Now listen, this is Governor Cuomo's response.
I believe that what you should be saying about Rush Limbaugh is Rush Limbaugh ought to be on every station in America, all he wants to be. Everybody should be. You shouldn't be disparaging his right to be out there saying what he wants to say. What I would hope is that the American people, if Rush Limbaugh is as unappealing as you think he is, that sooner or later the American people will so conclude and they will reject him. And if you're right about Rush Limbaugh, then what you ought to do is be patient and let the American people analyze and hear what he's saying. Frankly, I have never heard Mr. Limbaugh because I don't listen to the radio. I read his book. His book did not scandalize me in any way. I mean, there were parts of his book that, made a lot of sense. So I don't know what he's like on television and radio because I've never seen him. But I read his book, and I've never met him. I do think that we are, the politics and the philosophy of the country are kind of cyclical. There were times when all the spokespeople on the radio were liberals. And a lot of the conservative people said, how can you take that claptrap from these liberals? They're up there, these guys, they all smoke marijuana, they all sleep around, they're destroying the whole society. There's no more religion. And, they were saying about the liberal spokespeople what you're saying about Rush Limbaugh.
I had to play that for you because that's honesty. And he's being intellectually, I think, consistent with his devotion to free speech. He also may want to do a talk show when he finishes being governor. Want to play that for you. We've got a break. We'll come back. A little bit of Perot and NAFTA. Not much time for it. We'll get some of it in after this. Don't go.
So the idea hits me. Chicken sounds good. I head for Long John. Something tells me I should. For $1.99, I hear a voice say, chicken at Long John's will blow you away. Hey, what am I thinking? Am I in outer space? Can the world's best chicken be at a fish place? And the voice said, chicken at Long John's is just a thing. So many choices, those taste buds will sing. So I stopped at the sign, couldn't believe my eyes. Got the $1.99 fish, chicken, and fries. So if you're thinking chicken, you gotta go fish. At Long John's Silver's, you're gonna get
Make-A-Wish.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need Prestone. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
Save 50% on quality carpet when you buy direct from the mill, S&S Mills. Call now to receive a free video and discover how you can cut out the middleman and save 50%. Call 1-800-42-DIRECT. That's 1-800-42-DIRECT.
It's Recreational Warehouse's annual fall warehouse sale. Save 50% off list and get extras for free. For example, buy a brand new spa or hot tub for as little as $18.88, or buy a display or blemish model for $13.88, and delivery and chemical kit is free. This package includes shell, pump, heater, jets, and cover. Or buy a 6, 7, or 8-foot slate pool table for as little as $8.99, and delivery and installation are free. We also have foosball tables for as little as $2.99. The annual fall warehouse sale ends soon, so hurry into Recreational Warehouse.
There was no problem with the insurance, but when the car came out of the shop, I told Joe here that it just didn't look right.
You see, that's where Nationwide's Blue Ribbon Claim Guarantee kicks in.
I gotta say, Nationwide really went to bat for me. It got fixed.
Satisfaction guaranteed in writing.
Joe was right. That makes a big difference.
One heck of a difference.
Nationwide is on your side.
Your local Nationwide agent Donald Lloyd in Amherst and Paul Aswad in Niagara Falls.
Tough, smart, definitely not one of the boys. Rath, she took on the county hall crowd and won, fighting the Gorski tax hike and passing real fiscal reform. As our state senator, Mary Lou Rath will oppose wasteful Albany spending, and she'll take on Cuomo and his taxes in order to spur jobs and economic growth. Rath, she's gone toe-to-toe with Dennis Gorski. She'll go head-to-head with Mario Cuomo. Elect Rath, state senator, a proven tax fighter.
We are back. Here we are on Rush Limbaugh, the television show. All right, NAFTA is something that's very, very close to going down to defeat. It would be a terrible mistake if this goes down to defeat, and I hope before the vote we have sufficient time here to try to make the case for it, because it's crucial to our competitiveness in the world and the expansion of our economy. But there he is, that little hand grenade with a bad haircut out there, trying to get your fears all worked up. Here's his latest NAFTA challenge. Take a look.
We will discuss this issue in front of working America with the president or the vice president or with Lee Iacocca. Our only requirement is that it be done in a huge facility, that the doors be open to everybody. Now, this will make them nervous. They just can't invite the corporate elite that want it. They're going to have to let the third shift working guy come in if he wants to. They're going to have to look working America in the eye and explain to them why it makes sense to send their jobs to Mexico.
Words are plentiful, deeds are precious. Let's get to it. We'll have more on this on a future show, my friends, and you've got to watch it. Don't miss that. See you next time.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following: